Jill here from the Pet Beastro, and we have Laura Franco, and Laura does Resonance Repatterning, and we're going to wait here, hang out a couple minutes. I'm going to maybe tell my Viper story real quick before we get into repatterning, so hopefully we'll have some people join us and jump online and watch our repatterning session for Viper. So Viper is my F1 Bengal, and I got him from my breeder. Oh goodness, this Thanksgiving I think will be 4 years. So 4 years that we've had him. So 4 years, yeah, it sounds like that. That's crazy. And he came to me from Michelle, my breeder, and unfortunately he was just causing some havoc in her house. So he was actually going after the females in the house, especially if they were pregnant, and then he was being detrimental to her cattery program. So we took on Viper, and he came to our house very scared, shaken, not sure about the new environment, but he quickly became awesome friends with all of our cats. He's just not a human, so, which is common when you get an early generation Bengal Savannah, that they don't tend to be into humans, and they prefer to have their social hierarchy with other cats. So I worked with another practitioner, a resonance repatterning practitioner, and we worked through some issues that he was having that stemmed back from in utero. So he was a kitten of a litter of 2, and unfortunately there was 3 breeders that were all kind of fighting over kittens. So if you could do the math there, we have 3 breeders and we have 2 kittens born, how that all panned out. So Viper went to Michelle, and in lieu of that, he had, he's kind of feral cat, squirrely behavior, and he lives indoors, and we want him to, we want to be able to take him out. So if there's an emergency that was to happen and we needed to evacuate our home, my concern is that maybe Viper wouldn't be able to go with us. So we want to be able to change his energy, rebalance his energy into something positive, and help to get over those struggles with him. So what happens was, when he gets into a carrier, he almost goes into anxiety or panic attack. He barrel rolls. He tries to escape the kennel to the point that he actually would injure himself. So that's very concerning to me. We want to be able to make sure that we provide him a good environment, good emotional health, and we have him on the healthiest food possible. We've done flower remedies with him. I have done different supplements with him. So something that I have noticed that has been really helpful, though, is repatterning. So Laura, maybe if you could give us your best definition of repatterning.
Sure. So to me, resonance repatterning is about any problems, fears, traumas, anxiety that you have going on or your pet has going on, and we work with the energy to help shift the problem so that you no longer resonate with the energy that problem, fear, anxiety, or trauma is giving off. And a lot of times you don't have the reactive emotion that's associated with those problems any longer after resonance repatterning sessions.
Awesome. And it's the couple sessions that I have done with Viper, I have noticed improvements almost immediately. So Laura and I did a repatterning session with Viper last Saturday.
Yep.
And over the course of the week, funny enough, I've actually almost tripped over him in my kitchen several times, which he's not an under your foot type cat. He is typically, he's kind of up high, or he's on the table. He's kind of watching over, seeing what's going on. I've literally turned around and almost like stumbled and tumbled over him. So I've noticed that he's out more often. I've also noticed that if he is sitting on the ground next to me, I can actually bend down and pet him, where before, if I were to bend down and pet him or reach my hand out, he's gone. He'd take off. So that's just a couple things that I've noticed over the week. I feel like there's a couple other things. Less growling and grumbling. So he has this like frustration growl. So if he's in a situation that he does not want to be in, he has a completely different noise and growl that he emits that is different than any other time. And that's reduced and lessened quite a bit. I haven't heard as much growling or grumbling from him. So that's been a couple interesting things that I've noticed. So,
which I love hearing about.
Yeah.
I love hearing the changes that people notice, even within yourself or within your animal.
Yeah, it's pretty astonishing just in a few short days that I saw those behavioral differences happen.
Yeah.
Viper is much more my cat. He tolerates Lewis, but he, Lewis goes up to pet him and it's maybe 1 or 2 strokes and he's like done, where Lewis has actually been able to pet him a lot more this week as well. So
awesome.
That doesn't seem to be as bothersome either to him. So, hey Andrea, thanks for sharing your video, or sharing our video. I appreciate that. Get some more viewers on. So if you have any questions throughout the video, if you're watching, feel free to type them in, and hopefully maybe Laura and I can answer them as we go along. So we're going to start our repatterning session for Viper. And if you have any questions, again, type them in there. Otherwise, Laura and I can answer questions that are posted under the video afterwards. So Laura actually does have appointments. She does do appointments here at the Pet Beastro on Saturdays. So if this is something as you get along and you're like, oh, that's totally something my cat or dog needs, or maybe even yourself, she does humans too. Yes. So feel free to give the store a call and we'll get you booked. So, all right, we're going to start. I'm going to stop talking and Laura is going to walk us through repatterning for Viper.
Okay, so first of all, we're going to make sure that Jill's energy is proxying in for Viper at the moment.
Oh, yeah, we should mention that. We don't have Viper here.
Yes, Viper is not here because he doesn't like carriers.
He doesn't like carriers, and I don't know what he would do if he was in the store. So because I'm around Viper all the time, and our energies interact, I'm actually going to be the one that proxies in for Viper during the session.
And even if you brought your animal to the Pet Beastro, they don't necessarily have to be here. Your energy can proxy in for your animal's energy whether they're here or not with you.
Yeah.
So if you're a little worried about how your dog or cat or whatever is going to act in the session, it's okay if they're not here with you.
Good.
It all works. And appointments are done at the Pet Beastro on Saturdays. Okay, so we're going to put online that Jill is proxying in for Viper's energy today. Yes. I'm sorry, I forgot. You give me permission to muscle check, right?
Yes, I give you permission to muscle check.
Okay. So we're putting online, yes. Jill is now proxying in for Viper's energy at this time. So I'm going to use my mandala now, and I'm going to muscle check what part of the mandala Viper needs, and then we'll go to that section and we'll work through it. So does Viper need an orientation, intention, a repatterning? So Viper needs a repatterning. We'll see what he needs.
And some of you that have been in for appointments with me, so Laura calls muscle response testing muscle checking. We also sometimes hear it as nutrition response testing. You can also use a pendulum. So there's different ways to muscle test or muscle check. So that is essentially what Laura is currently doing. And then also the mandala has some similarities to traditional Chinese medicine. So it has a lot of the same elements. So if you've ever been to an appointment with me, you may have heard something about the wood element or the water element. Those are actually part of the mandala as well. So if you were to do an appointment, you would probably see those come up.
Yeah. And Viper has come up for a chakra repatterning.
Which I think is what we did on Saturday as well, wasn't
it? Oh my gosh.
I'm pretty sure we did chakra, but I don't think it was a repatterning.
We did an abundance. He needed an abundance, which was a meridian.
Okay.
So, yeah. Animals tend to really like the chakras and the meridians.
That's cool.
So we are going to find the life cycle repatterning, which is in my chakra book. I have 4 different repatterning books that I work from at this time. In September, I'm actually taking an advanced course, and I'll have a 5th book that I'll be able to work from, just to be able to offer more repatterning sessions to people.
That's awesome.
Okay, so does Viper need to hear something from the introduction? Yes, he does. So I'm going to muscle check what Viper needs to hear from me, and Jill can just sit back and she'll take it in, and Viper will get what he needs from me for information. something simple. So in the life cycle repatterning, we identify and transform our resonance with the out-of-sync frequencies of the chakra qualities relating to each of the life cycle phases. As a result of being in sync with coherent life cycle frequencies, we will find we are able to complete projects, actions, relationship interactions in all phases of our daily life and to stay present and vital in all we do. The aim of the life cycle repatterning is to identify and transform non-coherence so we constantly celebrate empowered outcomes and new beginnings, naturally moving through the 5 phases with ease. Okay. So now we are going to move on, and I'm going to be asking Jill questions and having her repeat statements, and we'll move forward. So, what is the problem you are facing, Viper?
So I think I would like to focus on being able to get him into a carrier and be able to have him leave the house if there was an emergency. But I think I want to say that something broader. I don't want him to just only leave the house if there's an emergency. Mm-hmm. It would be nice for him to leave the house, you know, in case that we need to take him to a veterinarian, in case we need to, it would be awesome to bring him to the store. I think maybe that's a possibility, but down the road, definitely not in our near future. But just to be able to include him in what, you know, some of the daily life things that we do with our other cats. You know, most of you have been to the store and see that the other cats come to the store, so I think that would be really awesome for him, because he is a fairly active cat.
Yeah.
So Laura is making a statement out of the things that I just said that I would like to work on with Viper with his emotional health.
This is complete. It is. Okay. If you think that there's anything more that you'd like to add, just tell me.
Okay.
So we're going to general muscle check. Yes, we are. I am unable to so I'm going to have Jill repeat this statement as I repeat it to her. I am unable to travel in a carrier.
I am unable to travel in a carrier.
I am scared to be enclosed in a carrier.
I am scared to be enclosed in a carrier.
I can't leave the house.
I can't leave the house.
And Viper's on for that energy, so he's resonating with that.
So that statement that I just made, I made it in lieu of Viper. So I'm saying it for Viper, that is a statement that resonates with his energy and truth to him.
Yep. Okay, so we're going to, does Viper need B? No. So we're going to identify the primary life cycle chakra that's being avoided. Yes, we are.
So, and if you do a pet appointment with Laura, the appointments last about 30 minutes. There's some other things too. Sometimes pets need some follow-ups or some additional support. Laura also puts together Bach flower remedies or essential oils that can also help with emotional support. So as you process the emotions and the rebalancing of the emotional patterns, the flower remedies and essential oils can help with those and help ease that transition. So those are really nice, and that's something that Laura can do during the appointment. If it's for yourself, the appointment is for yourself, that appointment runs about 60 minutes. But everybody benefits from it. We're all energetic beings. So that's what I love about repatterning, is that it helps our animals, it helps us. If it helps